an interview, nor did they respond to requests from local news outlets. The government should not force ordained ministers to act contrary to their faith under threat of jail time and criminal fines, Tedesco said. The city is on seriously flawed legal ground, and our lawsuit intends to ensure that this couple's freedom to adhere to their own faith as pastors is protected, just as the First Amendment intended. Alliance Defending Freedom also filed a temporary restraining order to stop the city from enforcing the ordinance. Quote, the Naps are in fear that if they exercise their First Amendment rights, they will be cited, prosecuted, and sent to jail, unquote, said Tedesco. It's hard to believe this could happen in the United States, but as the lawsuit states, the Naps are in, quote, constant state of fear that they may have to go to jail, pay substantial fines, or both, resulting in them losing the business that God has called them to operate, in which they have faithfully operated for 25 years, unquote. The lawsuit came the same week that the city of Houston issued subpoenas demanding that 5 Christian pastors turn over sermons dealing with homosexuality and gender identity. See, this is where it's going to get crazy. What in heaven's name is happening to our country, folks? Was I under the assumption that churches and pastors would not be impacted by same-sex marriage? Quote, the other side insisted this would never happen, that pastors would not have to perform same-sex marriages, Tedesco said. The reality is, it's already happening. Unquote. It's just... Tony Perkins, president of the Family Research Council, told me it's open season on Americans who refuse to bow to the government's redefinition of marriage, unquote. Americans are witness to the reality that the redefining marriage is less about marriage, the marriage altar, and more about fundamentally altering the freedoms of the other 98% of Americans, unquote, Perkins said. Why should evangelical Christian ministers be forced to perform and celebrate any marriage that conflicts with their beliefs? Quote, this is the brave new world of government-sanctioned same-sex unions, where Americans are forced to celebrate these unions regardless of their religious beliefs, Perkins told me. As I write in my book, God Bless America, we are living in a day when those who support traditional marriage are coming under fierce attack. The incidents in Houston and now in Coeur d'Alene are just the latest examples of a disturbing trend in culture war, direct attacks on clergy. Government officials are making clear they will use their government power to punish those who oppose the advances of homosexual activists, Perkins said. I'm afraid Mr. Perkins is absolutely right. No one should be discriminated against, but have you noticed that any time a city passes a quote-unquote non-discrimination ordinance, it's the Christians who wind up being discriminated against? And that's the end of that article. It was by Todd Starnes, who's heard on hundreds of stations across the country. And you can also sign up for his American Dispatch newsletter and be sure to join his Facebook page and follow him on Twitter. His latest book is God Bless America. All right. We've spoken about this on the show quite a bit. And my view is this. Look, I don't care what you do in your bedroom and who you do it with. That's your business. As far as falling in love with somebody, the same sex, hey, look, it happens. Who am I to say who you should love? It's not for me to say. But when you start pushing an agenda that tells me I must comply with what you want because you want it, and that's the way it's going to be, that's where I draw the line. Look, there are ways, the biggest complaint in all of this was that gay couples could not get coverage under their partner's insurance, that they couldn't make decisions for their lovers who got ill or were sick and dying. Look, I think they have a right to do that if the other person is allowing that. Look, there are civil unions, and civil unions cover all of this, all of it. It's all covered. It's all there. If you are joined civilly in a civil union, you get all of this. It all comes. You can love who you want, do what you want, do whatever you want. You get your legal rights as well. But no, that's not enough for these people. They have to push it to the point of changing the definition of marriage, a religious right. That's what marriage is. Marriage is between one man and one woman. That's what marriage is. That's the definition of marriage. Now, these people, these zealots who push this idea that they must have this marriage, or it's just cannot stand, that's the way it has to be, or you're a homophobe. You know what? Shove it. Well, I can't say that because it applies. Anyway. Do what you want in your own bedroom. I don't care. I don't push my religion on you. I don't tell you or have our courts pass laws that you must follow our religion. But don't try to change what we believe and what people believed for thousands of years because you feel you have to have what they have. In some people's eyes, what you are doing, and I'm not saying this is true, but in some people's eyes, what you do is an abomination to them. They don't believe in it. And who are you to shove this down their throats? Do some people push religion too hard? Oh, yeah. But that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about a way of life and beliefs, religious beliefs. Where in our Constitution, our Bill of Rights, we have the right to believe whatever we want. And you do not have a right to come in and shove these things down our throat and change the belief system of people here in this country. You can try, and I'll give you kudos for trying. But when the court system in this country decides that they're going to start trumping what the people in the states are voting for, this has got to stop. It must stop, and it must stop now. You can have all the arguments you want about gay rights and gay marriage, all you want. The fact still remains, you can have everything that a marriage gives you except the fact that in the eyes of God, you are not married. That is a sacrament where I come from. It's a sacrament. It has to do with religion. You are married in the eyes of God, and God does not recognize homosexual relationships. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is for those who believe. Now, if you don't believe, that's something else. Now you can go and have your discussions and your arguments all you want. But don't sit there and tell me I must believe or change my belief because of what you want to do. Sorry, that's not the way it works in this country. And if you allow it to work that way, ladies and gentlemen, that's why this country is going down the tubes. You see? So I really don't get the argument here. I really don't. How can you receive a sacrament from God when God himself doesn't recognize your union? I don't get it. It's pretty cut and dry to me. Maybe I'm missing something. I don't know. And you can't give me the legal argument because there's something there for the legal argument for you not getting, what your partner was. If you have a civil union, you got all those things. So why must you push this marriage business? Because you're in love and marriage constitutes loving one another? Please, come on. Your argument starts to fall apart there. There's no reason to push this agenda. Even those that believe what you're doing is wrong. Say you have a right to do whatever it is you want to do. Go right ahead and do it. But stop shoving it down our throats. Now you've got, I mean, in this particular case, I mean, these people have been at this for 25 years. They're ministers. I mean, I don't know. They're a business. Ordinance and business, you got to follow the laws of you're going to have to, unless you declare yourself a church. I mean, I mean, it seems to be pretty cut and dry to me. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about this, because I'm at a loss here. I think it's pretty cut and dry, but let's see what they have to say in our chat room. Apocalypse says, Bill Maher talked about the gay mafia, how if you cross them, they will get you fired. Well, it's true. It's true. That's what they do. They attack you because you don't believe what they believe, because you don't believe in their way of life and what they say and what they want to push on you. You know what? And we need to start fighting back, man. And that's all there is to it. Yeah, he does. Bill Maher does sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes. Yes, he is a liberal, an uber liberal, if you ask me. Let's see. Well, thank you, brown-eyed girl. I got to catch up here, so if you hear things that don't make sense, it's because I'm behind by 20 minutes almost. Okay. No, yeah. Ernie, Rick wants to know if we missed the announcement. I don't know, because there was no announcement made, so we'll hear that in a minute. I don't know. I think maybe Peter Boy and Ernie are getting hitched. I don't know. That I'm just saying. I don't know. So this may be the right night for this. I don't know. And Rick says, "Is he coming out?" Yeah, gay marriage, says Aaron. Yeah, that's a battleground. Don't worry about Fallujah. Just worry about gay marriage. You're right. There are more important things to worry about. But you see what the problem is here, Aaron, is that these people are what's happening is that our courts are now legislating from the bench. And that's where this makes it a little more important than regular just gay marriage and that whole thing. You can't be legislating from the bench. Judges can't be telling people that when they vote for something, their votes no longer count, and what the people want and what the people say no longer count because you as a judge said, no, you can't do that. Okay? That's the problem here. That's what's got me riled up about this. Stop legislating from the bench. That's not your job. Get your policies and your political bullshit out of the courtroom. Do your job and mind your business. If it comes in front of you, you make your rulings depending on law, not about what you believe in your political leanings. That's the case here, Aaron. Apocalypse says, with gay marriage will come a ton of gay divorce. I bet the lawyers are happy and well-off clients. That's true. Chill away. Ooh, okay. Let's see. Let's see. Peter Boy says, what would happen if they refused to do a both-sex marriage? Would it have been the same? I don't understand that question, Peter. What would happen if they refused to do a both-sex marriage? Would it have been the same? I don't get it. Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals is the most liberal panel out there, and Rick is absolutely right when he says that. Peter Boy says, in the UK, there is a loophole, and you can't opt out to do same-sex marriage. And Andrew sees it in another light. He says, they can all go gay. More ladies for him. I like that. Apocalypse, it should be up to each church to decide whether they choose to do something like that, and I guess you're right about that. Ash, in the house, and she agrees with Apocalypse. Thanks for joining us, Ash. Apocalypse thinks that 1/3 of all churches in America will do same-sex marriage, so it's not that hard to find one. I don't know about that now, because you're talking about churches, and not the Catholic Church anyway. That's never going to happen. Not in the Catholic Church. Well, we've got the Protestants, I think, are already doing it, if I'm not mistaken, as we read in the article earlier, or heard earlier. If you're charging for it, it's like you see it. You're in a catch-22 here now. Now